So I'd just like to preface this video by saying that this brace is excellently built, and the challenges that I ran into here on the installation are not necessarily all of the fault of either the vehicle or the manufacturer. When you build something like this, when you customize a vehicle, the keyword there, customize, not everything you're going to be able to grab a box, open it up, bolt it onto your car, and drive off. I mean, if you wanted something like that, then go buy a Civic or a Wrangler or something. So every time you customize a vehicle, the people that make these parts, they can't make it to fit every single car every single time. That's just not how the universe works. So you might have to modify some stuff, like in the case of what I had to do here. And so that's not saying anything bad about the product or the manufacturing or any of that, because it's damn near impossible for anybody to build anything that's going to fit everything. You know, maybe your car was wheeled too hard or bent or rolled, or maybe it was in a wreck before you got it. You know, there's all kinds of conditions. You know, there's too many to sit down here and say that anything fitment related is based on the manufacturer's error in judgment and manufacturing. I mean, these guys put a lot of work into this, and I challenge anybody to come up with anything better that's as easy as this. You know, go ahead, show me. You know, one of the things that came up in the topic in the forums was, it doesn't just bolt right in. I had to actually do some work. Like, he made this as simple as possible to put together. Like, dude, if you can't figure out how to put this stuff together, you shouldn't be welding. You shouldn't be working on cars. You shouldn't be wheeling. This is the easiest stuff there is. Like, oh, there's one guy's like, oh, this is ridiculous. I spent all this money and I couldn't get this bolt in. It's like, you got to put it in before you put it on. It's not that hard, man. So this is really cool. The coating on it's nice. So I got this pillow bearing that will replace the bolt on the sector shaft. So not only is it going to support the sector shaft itself, but it also comes up and clamps onto the box, wraps around the snout there. So it holds the box, holds the sector shaft, and ties the whole thing together, which is going to make it way more rigid. This hose is not original. This has been replaced before, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have to modify this or not. But if I do, I will show that process. It looks like there's enough room in there to move that out of the way. There's plenty of room in here where I can come in here and cut this with a razor blade, push this hose forward. The first thing I want to do is I want to make sure all my holes are cleaned out. So I'm going to use this tap, and I'm just going to go through and clean out these holes first. Now I can already feel the warriors. You shouldn't be using your impact with that tap. Well, you know what? I don't care. I've done this a million times. Look at that. It's a miracle. Can't believe it. Okay, so now that I got the holes cleaned out, I'm going to use my 34 here. I'm going to take the pitman arm nut off. We got a nut and a lock washer. This is the sector shaft extension that goes on there that the pillow bearing rides into. We're going to reuse our lock washer. Now this is 1.5 inches. You're going to want to use a deep socket. I happen to have this socket that I made years ago for something else. This is a deep shaft here, so your socket might not work. You might have to do some shopping. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and test fit this in here. Now, here's the thing. This is a really close fit. Now, it's designed to be like that. So one of the things I noticed when I was doing my research on which one of these I wanted to put in here, going through some of the old Jeep forum posts, you know, the XJ guys, like, I couldn't get my bolts to line up. Listen, man, here's the thing. If you're in the position to where you're going to be installing something like this on here, there's going to be a little bit of manipulation that may be required. You can't just take this stuff out and bolt it on. If you wanted it to be that easy, you can go buy a Civic and put some coilovers on it or something. This is different, especially if your vehicle's been wheeled in the past. There may be some bent pieces, and this thing fits in there really well. So if you can't get this in there, I don't know what to tell you. All right, so just had to pull that core support off there real quick because I wanted to show this car's had a radiator put in it before, and it's all aftermarket, and it's also got an aftermarket hose in it. So the factory hose doesn't come out this far, and it doesn't usually interfere here. So I'm going to have to actually trim this hose and push it on further so that it doesn't hit right here. But chances are you probably have an aftermarket hose on. So what I'm going to do is trim it a little bit and then shove it on there. So this is an old flat rate trick. So I don't want to drain the coolant out of this thing. I just don't want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my razor blade and I'm actually going to cut along here like that. And up along the backside. This is a brand new razor blade. Should cut through this hose no problem. Okay, so I got that. Now what I'm going to do is just kind of clean this up a little bit here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my bucket, bring it over here, because it's going to drip a little bit when I loosen up this clamp. I've got green fluid on me.